Okay, state your name.
Amari Youssef Bey, also known as Chef Ace, the icon. Peace and love.
Okay, tell us a little bit about you. Where you from? Where you grew up? How old are you? Everything, man. We want to hear.
42 years old, born and raised in East St. Louis, the Edgemont area. But basically the entire city. My family's all over the city. I've been a chef now for about 15 years. I went to culinary, a culinary school in St. Louis, the Ladue area. And after graduating, I got the opportunity to expound as a chef by working for the Cardinals. I've been a traveling chef for them. I've run a nice club for them called the Champions Club. I've also been a chef at the Hyatt downtown St. Louis. I've worked at country clubs, countless places, and I've also opened up some venues for some people. Currently, I'm a private chef. I have a company called Supreme Chef Concepts, and I cook privately at the University of Missouri. So food is definitely my life. It helped me to expound on myself as a man. It gave me direction. It made me understand the notion of responsibility as it pertains to something bigger than me. And I feel like that's something that everybody should desire in their life. It's very important to try to find something that makes you happy, but something that also molds you into something different. Because as you get older, you're supposed to grow and change. You're not supposed to stay the same. So thank goodness that I found food at the time that I did, because it was just time for a transition for me. And, you know, the universe pretty much provided me for exactly what I was asking for. Since then, as a chef, I've worked in a plethora of states. I've cooked privately for a few stars as well.
Who are some of the stores you cooked for?
Well, I cooked for, I really don't suppose to talk about that. Bro.
Okay, well, look. We're going to respect that,
yeah.
But let's rewind to your upbringing, your childhood, and what shaped you into the man you are today. Like, take us through that.
Yeah, like I said, I was born in East St. Louis. You know, I don't really talk about that much, but I have no problem doing that today. My mother told me that it was time for me to start expressing that more. I grew up without my father. He was murdered when I was a year old. He was a beautiful man from what everyone tells me, and everybody tells me I look just like him, and it's like being in his presence even though he's not physically here anymore, you know. So but because of that, I had the opportunity to be raised by my great aunt. My mother wasn't in my life as a child either. She had her own struggles that she had to deal with. Now she, from being addicted to drugs, is now a teacher with 4 degrees, one including a master's degree. So she's the reason that I never quit. I don't really know how to tell somebody that went through all that I give up on myself. I think it's the best motivation that I have. I carry it everywhere. And I was raised by my great aunt. Her name is Willa, and she passed away 2 years ago, but at 93 years old, which was a beautiful gift to have her for so long. And because of her, she sheltered me from a lot of the things that people probably went through growing up in East St. Louis, it being such a difficult place to live. Yeah, she kept me in church as a youngster, which gave me direction and taught me moral compass, things that everybody need to learn. Even if you don't like church, if you need something that will teach you how to treat other people, then you should definitely go to at least be around people to learn how to deal with people. And that's what that gave me mostly. And also how to communicate very well with people, which is very important in every aspect of life. So yeah, I went to I went to A.M. Jackson Math and Science Academy as a child. And then after that, I went to East St. Louis Senior High School, where I graduated, one of the best high schools on the planet, in my opinion. And yeah, East St. Louis, it is definitely, it's poverty-stricken. It's not a lot here, but I believe that was my biggest motivation, you know, to make myself more than what we typically see in our community. Yeah, because, I mean, there are a lot of prosperous people here, thank God. And thank God that some of them stay to still be a beacon of light and representation for our city. But, you know, me personally, I just want to expound as far as I can and be a different type of representation, you know, something that eludes the normalities that we already see all the time, you know. I want people to say, oh, that chef is from East St. Louis and he's cooked internationally and he's done things for people that, you know, you wouldn't even believe that he would be able to do. And I'm very amazing at my talent, so I know it'll lead me there. But I love my city, though we may have a lot of struggle and strife here and a lot of pain at times. I would not be the person that I am if I wouldn't have grown up here. I always tell people my life is exactly as it is. Like, who knows who I would be if my father was still living, you know, and if my mother wouldn't have had to go through her struggles. All those things made me grow differently than, you know, a lot of people typically grow up. And it made me stronger, and I think it made me wiser faster, you know, because I had to be. So, yeah, I love East St. Louis. I always correct people. They be like, oh, you're from St. Louis. No. Shout out to St. Louis, but I'm from East St. Louis. You know, it's a difference. We're separated by the Mississippi River. You got to cross a bridge to get here, you know, so it's on the Illinois side. So that's very important to know. Most people, when you meet them out in travel, don't know that, and they just presume that we're all one. And while we still have some of the same traits that they have, whether we believe it or they believe it, and, you know, yeah, we're all one. We're all one as people regardless. So, yeah, shout out to St. Louis. I've made a lot of money there, and that's where I grew up as a chef. But East St. Louis is my city, and I love it abundantly. So.
What developed your love for food, your talent for cooking? What inspired you, motivated, pushed you into that particular genre of business? Because that's a nice genre of business to be in. It takes you around a lot of people. You get to rub a lot of elbows. But what kind of made you want to go that route?
Great question. So I used to get into a lot of trouble when I was younger, and I almost went to jail a lot of times. And at one point, me and my brothers had terrorized this city so bad. One night, I was still hustling, and a cop came by my house and told me if I didn't leave his city, I wasn't leaving there. So that was more of a reflection than almost going to jail. Like, wow, you know, somebody took the initiative to tell me it was time for me to go. If I didn't leave, I wasn't leaving. That means a lot, if you know what that means. I don't have to say what that means. So I quit everything that I was doing. It was too much of a reflection of where I was. I packed all the stuff that I could in my car, and I left everything else where I was at. And I came back home, and it was like the beginning of me changing, the beginning of my change, like a transition into something different. And for a while, you know, I was just sitting around the house all the time, and one of my cousins came by, and he was like, you look a mess, you know, and you need a job, you know. And I'm like, well, all I was really doing was writing. I write poetry and music to this day. And he was like, I'm going to get you a job cooking with me at Busch Stadium. So I was like, all right, cool. So initially, I absolutely hated the job. I mean, I think it was more so because I was so used to living this free type of lifestyle where I could go when I want to. Now everybody's making plans for my day. You know, it's like, oh my God, this is horrible. But I started getting good at it, and the executive chef there kept recognizing me for things, and my cousin got promoted, and instead of promoting somebody that had been there into his position, he gave it to me. And they gave me more responsibility, which I love anyway. So I just kept getting better and better, and they had an appreciation party for us. I want to say that was maybe like 2008. And while at the party, the executive chef walked up to me and he said, I've told your cousins countless times that if they would go to school and get their degree, I could take their career as far as they wanted to. So I'm going to offer you the same opportunity, and on top of that, I'm going to tell you if you graduate, you can run any club in Busch Stadium that you want. So I looked at him and I'm like, really? And I mean, I have no problem with school. So he said, I'm being as serious as I can be. He said, you're amazing already. I can't imagine where you will be if you go to school. So I accepted the challenge. And 6 months before I graduated, he asked me what club I wanted, and he made it happen, you know. And then he got me ordained with Major League Sports in Delaware North as a chef before I left there. As well as I ran the Champions Club for 2 years while I was there, which was a great experience. Cooked for some stars there as well. I can't talk about those because it was at a public space. So I cooked for the St. Lunatics there. I cooked for Cedric the Entertainer there. I cooked for Goody Mob there. They came to a game and happened to be in my club that night. Who else did I cook for there? Well, those are the ones I can think of right off the top of my head. But it was a great experience. I expounded on it for quite some time. They even made me a traveling chef. I opened up a stadium in Kansas City, the Livestrong Stadium, as a chef. It's a soccer stadium, world class. As well as I worked in Chicago for a while. I worked in Texas for a while with them. It was a great experience to be able to travel and do what I love at the same time. It was beautiful. But then from there, it was just, now it was time for a change, a transition into learning something different because I like to grow. So then I hit the hotel scene for a minute. And it just really became like this whole goal to like basically accomplish all facets of culinary arts that I possibly could. You know, so after I worked in hotels, I started working for people. I actually opened up a sports bar and grill, which was also a concert venue called the IP54 on Grand. It seated 225 people in the restaurant, and they could hold a concert for up to 3,600 people on the other side, and I would have the kitchen for the restaurant cracking, and I would have buffet set up specifically around the other venue serving 3,600 people all at the same time, you know. So it was just this thing. It was like, oh my God, I'm good at this. Oh man, I'm good at that too. Oh well, let me go get a job at a pizza place and learn how to toast dough, you know. And then, oh well, let me go to a Asian spot and really learn how to use a wok. You know, it was since I was so in love with it, and there was so many facets that I could always stay interested. You know, so now my facet of interest is business building. Like I have a catering company, SupremeChefConcepts.com, and now it's like structure, and making sure everything is beautiful all the time. So what it's lent me is the opportunity to continually grow in something that doesn't get boring to me. You know what I'm saying? It's always changing, you know. I've worked at sushi restaurants, downtown Kansas City, Sticks in particular. The chef there and I were really good friends. So I just volunteered and went up there for 2 weeks, bro, and just made sushi. So I know how to do it, you know, and stayed in a night. They put me up in a nice hotel because I worked with him when I opened up the stadium. We had a great relationship. And I told him, I was like, man, listen, I don't know how to do it, so I got to come learn it, you know. So I would lend that to anybody. Like, try to find something that is changes, you know, so that you don't find yourself in this non-changing box, you know, and you get bored with that, like, or some people do. I know I do. It can't be so simplistic that it's just like, oh, it'll always be like this. I mean, if that's the case, find something else that you may find interest to add on to that. Because it's okay. A lot of jobs are, you know, based in this one specific thing being done. But what I see when I pay attention to people, like, they get lackadaisical with that. They get humbled by that. You know, it becomes the reality, like, oh, let me go get this check. But they be bored with their life sometime, you know. So I just always yearned for something that wouldn't bore me. because then I wouldn't be happy that way. So that's what food gave me, bro. Like, it gave me something. I can go cut on the TV right now, and there's 16 food shows on. By the way, I've actually applied, tried to get on a couple of those, and I'm going to keep trying. So, and you'll see 16 different chefs cooking 16 different meals with the same food. That's inspiring. Like, how do you all come up with something different with the same ingredients? You know what I mean? Like, it's a contest, and that's what we have to do in life. We pretty much all have the same ingredients to live and die by, so how do you make yours your specific recipe? How do you make it your own? And cooking taught me that you gotta mix, you gotta put everything in a pot, and you gotta create something that you feel like is specifically yours. This, like, when I find a recipe on Pinterest, I'll cook it the first time specifically that way, and I'll taste it, and I'll ask myself, oh, what would I have added, or what's missing that they didn't put in their recipe? Then when I cook it again, I add those things. By the time you keep doing that, you perfect it. And this is what you're doing with your life. You're either taking something away or you're adding it so that you could get to a specific point of notion that makes sense solely for you. And that's fair. It's not selfish. You know what I'm saying? That's the most selfless act that you could do for yourself. You know what I mean? So, that's what cooking gave me. It gave me this whole profound, different way of looking at life.
If you could give advice to any aspiring chefs or anybody looking to get in the culinary arts field, period, what would you give them? What would you tell them?
I would tell them in the beginning of their career to work as many different places with different cuisines and ways of doing things as possible. Because that's what I did. The beginning of my resume, I worked jobs for short periods of time. Sometimes it might be 6 months because I got all I needed out of that. Then I'll go to another place. I might be there 9 months. Then I might go someplace else. I might be there 2 years because it's a lot more to learn there. But what I didn't do is get stabilized there. I didn't just say, okay, I'm here, because I knew it was still more that I needed to know for me to feel like my mental capacity was fulfilled enough for me to do what I'm doing now. So, like, literally, like, don't be mad when you lose a job, because that means you got all you needed there. You know what I'm saying? Get to another one. Go learn German cooking. Go learn how to cook katsu chicken at a Japanese spot. You know what I'm saying? Go do some real authentic Mexican food. You know what I mean? Like at a Mexican spot where they dancing with sombreros. You know what I mean? Wherever you got to go to get like the ultimate amount of knowledge that you can to like truly be who you're supposed to be as a culinarian, man, go do it. I worked on an island in Mackinac Island in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. My entire kitchen was from South Africa and Puerto Rico, and primarily women. And I taught them how to cook American food, and they taught me how to cook African and Puerto Rican food. You see what I'm saying? So like wherever you can get that knowledge base, because you'll be like, once you get to the position of controlling things where you can create menus for self, for whatever the business is, where they give you that responsibility or show business, now you got this plethora of information, like to where you could just keep building on it and keep building on it and keep building on it. And then you're going to keep also be open-minded to the people that you work with, because you'll be shocked who you get a great idea from. Don't be the chef who's not compromising. You gotta understand that nobody succeeds by themselves. Like, everybody always like to say that I did this on my own. And to a capacity maybe so, but for you to actually expound and grow the way that you desired, there were people giving you tidbits of knowledge. There were people that were helping you all the time. When I was at Busch Stadium, I could grab my walkie and call anywhere around the stadium, have anything to me like that, because of the relationships I built. So this makes you a more powerful person. Get in tune with your people. And we also, in the beginning, learn how to work with people. Like, be open to suggestion. Like, you're about to be in the kitchen with 1,000 brains. Learn how to make that one brain. You know what I mean? Because when y'all work like that, always successful. At the end of the night, you're gonna be yelling, woo, all of that. You know what I mean? Because you just killed it. And you can only do that as one entity, period. So yeah, those few things, yeah. Make sure that you get as much information you can and be able to be open-minded to people's suggestions and know how to work with people. Those are the 3 top things that you have to have in the beginning if you want to go further, for sure.
So in closing, man, can you, if you want to share your social media handles, what you got going on, what you got cooking up, like how you can be reached.
Yeah, no doubt.
If you're available for business, if you're not available for business, in closing, here's the time.
In closing, my website for my catering company is supremechefconcepts.com. You can reach me at supremechefconcepts@gmail.com. I just got interviewed by an online magazine called Voyage STL, who are taking off pretty fast here. So you can go to their website, voyagestl.com, to check that out. I'm published in an international cookbook called the Cookbook Bouyoles. That is actually, you can actually find that on my Instagram, which is Chef Ace11. Just go to my link tree. I'm a poet, so if ever you need somebody to do some spoken word, I could do that for you. I'm a hip hop artist. You can find my music at chefacethicon.com. I actually have a video out right now called Cheetos with my brother. His name's Joe Allende. Mastery with all musical techniques, and he can play a lot of instruments as well. I have a video coming out January 15th called Rap Theory 102 with an artist by the name of Mickey Fax from the Bronx. Yeah, I'm doing a lot. I do a lot all the time. I try to stay active. I help people all the time. Please, if you need anything catered, contact me at supremechefconcepts@gmail.com, or you could just reach me at cheface11 on my Instagram. So, yeah.
We appreciate you sitting down with us, man. Thank you. Stay positive, stay productive, and by all means, continue moving, man. Thank you.
Gratitude. Peace and love.